tawaf after she was purified.
Sheikh, what are some of the other requirements of a tawaf? You mentioned purity, but what else do we have to keep in mind?
Very important to remember covering the awrah, and particularly for men who are wearing those, ihram clothes, al-izar around the waist and a towel on their shoulders. Many people take it easy and they forget, so that their izar would fall beneath or below their navel. This part is awrah, and they should maintain covering the awrah during all times, whether in tawaf or outside a tawaf. But specifically during tawaf, because a tawaf, once again, is exactly similar to as-salah.
And Sheikh, is there anything in terms of the actual what we do in tawaf? I mean, we know that we're walking around the
technical
Kaaba.
part.
What's
Yes.
the technical issues there?
It is very, very interesting. In the past, when people would go for Hajj and they have not seen even a movie or a show about Hajj, once they enter the masjid, they don't know where to begin from. There are hundreds of thousands of people just making tawaf, and they get lost. So that's why we recommend, before going for Hajj, to watch this movie, and to know that the beginning point is the corner of the black stone. Why is it called so? Because there is a black stone, and this black stone came from heaven. That black stone is put in the corner, and this is your beginning point and your end point. So you begin from there, and you make 7 rounds. That's another requirement. And the 7 rounds have to be from outside the Kaaba, not from inside. If a person made 7 rounds except one step, the entire tawaf is invalid. If a person performed tawaf, but in 1 or 2 steps, or a few steps, he made it from inside the Kaaba, the tawaf is invalid. And I understand that you might ask, how would a person get to do tawaf inside the Kaaba? We normally see the door of the Kaaba always closed. If you look to this picture, you see there is an arch. This arch is surrounding an area. Normally the guards resist at that corner to the left side, resist against people who try to enter, and they think that they don't want to allow them to enter and pray in this area. Inside this arch, you read in books, people will tell you it is Hijr Ismail. This nomenclature is wrong. It's just called Al-Hijr or Al-Hatim. Al-Hijr is a part of Al-Kaaba. How do we know that? The Prophet ﷺ informed us that when the Meccans came to reconstruct the Kaaba, they didn't have enough financial means, which they made certain that any money would be put in the construction of the Kaaba has to be from lawful sources. So they did not take any money but the halal. So when they didn't have enough to build the entire Kaaba, they were short, and they just built it up to there, and the rest was surrounded with that arch. So inside that arch is considered as a part of the Kaaba. Maybe there's a reason for it. The Prophet ﷺ said that to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, that had it not been the case that your people are still very close to the time of ignorance, I would have demolished the Kaaba and reconstructed it on the old foundations of Ibrahim and Ismail, peace be upon them. But he didn't do it for the sake of the integrity of the entire community, and they were just new to Islam.
Sheikh, before we go on, we're going to take a quick break. We'll get back to this issue of talking about the requirements of a tawaf. Please stay with us. Assalamu alaikum.
إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِندَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثَ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ نفس ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت إن الله عليم خبير.
Indeed, Allah has knowledge of the hour and sends down the rain and knows what is in the wombs. And no soul perceives what it will earn tomorrow, and no soul perceives in what land it will die. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing and well acquainted.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We're talking about at-tawaf. I wanted to ask, when you deal with the issue of starting the tawaf at the corner of the black stone, obviously when there's so many people there, you might enter the other side of the masjid, you have to join the flow of the tawaf. Is that permissible to do, and do you just wait till you reach that point to make your intention, and the same applies for exiting the tawaf?
Well, it varies from a time to another time. If a person is going to perform Umrah during summer where very few people are around, it's different. He or she might have an easy access to reach to the corner of the black stone right away and take a shortcut and begin from there. But in the condition of Hajj, the only choice is to go with the centrifugal force. By the meaning, you would just go with the flow until you get to the black stone corner or in line with it, then you would point by your hand, since you will not be able to reach it, especially during Hajj, and say, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, then go on your way around the Kaaba 7 rounds. And your end up point will be once again the black stone corner, not a step before it. Then afterward, you prepare yourself not to go against the flow, rather to move with them until you move slowly and gradually outside until you exit.
Sheikh, we have an illustration of the Kaaba. I know you mentioned the part called a Hijr, but it's known also as Hijr Ismail. Could you explain where it got this name and what the mistake is here?
There is actually false information, and I'm confirming that this is not true. Some people think that Prophet Ismail was buried there, and this is not true. This Hajj is sacred and considered as a very valuable part, because for ordinary people, they may pray inside the Kaaba. This is actually a part of the Kaaba, and that's why I once again emphasize, you should never try in the middle of your tawaf to enter. If they open the door, for instance, for any moment, you should not enter until you completely finish 7 rounds around the Kaaba. Any step you take inside while you have not finished your tawaf, in fact, you did tawaf inside the Kaaba, and that's invalid.
Sheikh, what about if the iqamah for salah is called while you're making tawaf? Do you stop and make salah and continue the tawaf? Do you have to begin again?
Well, right away, once the iqamah has been called, wherever you are, you join the congregation and you pray. And once the salah is over, you resume from the same spot where you stopped at.
Sheikh, what are some of the other recommended acts of making tawaf?
We stated that number 1 is beginning by the black stone. It is highly recommended not only to point, rather, but to touch, to kiss the black stone by your lips without making noise. And even to put your forehead and nose on it like you're in a state of sujood. The black stone is such a very precious stone. It came from paradise. As in a hadith that Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that there is nothing on earth which is from heaven but this stone, this black stone. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that by Allah, on the Day of Judgment, this black stone would come with 2 eyes and a tongue to bear witness and to testify for the favor of those who received it by touching it or kissing the black stone. We have to verify some facts here. This black stone, as the Prophet ﷺ indicated in another hadith, came down from heaven, and it was whiter than the milk. But due to the sins of son of Adam and children of Adam, it turned darker